Good morning, Your Excellency. Thank you very much for your time on one-on-one interview from fifa.co.id. We are very pleased to have you here. Now we're talking about the Russian invasion and the war in Ukraine. We know in days 19, so how is the estimated casualties there?
Selamat pagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm really grateful for you to come here, and because the people of Indonesia have the right to know the truth. Thank you for coming. And yes, it is 19th day of this war. I would call it as it is. It is the neo-colonialist war. It's a war of Russian Federation trying to restore the former Soviet Union. So I hope everybody understands this. And I really hope and I pray every day that this war is finished as soon as possible. And I hope and I pray for this every day that the colonialism in the world will be over when the war is over. As for the casualties, at present we have reported by its official statistics, it's on the United Nations site, and the reported casualties among Ukrainian civilians is more than 600 people, including many children, many women, elders, and what really made me it made me really weep yesterday, because I read that some casualties were reported, like 30 or 40 children, which cannot now even be identified. They were boys or girls, because this was happening after every bombardment by Russian troops of Ukrainian schools and hospitals and maternity houses, and also including the churches and masjid, also including the just residential houses. So the substantial parts of some of Ukrainian cities, like Mariupol, like Kharkiv, like Sumy, were destroyed. And it is the war against the nation. It's war against civilians. It's not just a war like one can imagine against the army.
Okay. Do you think now there is enough support from international and many countries? Like you said before, you're more optimistic right now. What do you say?
Yeah, I would never say that support is enough until the war is over, because now we can feel the support from many countries, from many friends, or worldwide. It's all sorts of support, including the provision of military equipment to defend our army, to defend our self-defense forces. It will include the humanitarian aid, which we need so badly now. I would say that Ukraine now is facing the humanitarian catastrophe now, after all these bombardments. It will include the sanctions, which work on Russia and which will stop the war sooner or later. It will help to stop the war. It will include the boycott of Russian goods, boycott of Russian business, boycott of Russian brands, and boycott of Russian propaganda. So anything, I would repeat, any voice is important. Any rupiah is important, is vital for Ukraine now. So yes, we are grateful to everyone who provided us the support, but no, it's never enough until it's over.
Yeah, I think so. So how about the refugees? We know that some countries, European countries, even in America, they receive the Ukraine people. So how about the amount? How many of them now have fled from Ukraine?
According to the last statistics, my children arrived. Two of my three children has arrived in Jakarta yesterday at night, and they brought like sort of the newest information. Okay. It's like about 2.5 million people now fled officially to Europe, and it's mainly the women, children, elders, or people with disabilities, a lot of them. And yes, our neighboring friends, Poland, Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, and other countries in Europe, like Germany, like Austria, and others, have provided a shelter for these people who really, some of them, many of them actually, ran from, not ran, but fled from Ukraine, not because they are like don't want to defend the country or something, but because they don't have place to live. It's the houses were destroyed and the destinies were destroyed. So yes, and we are very much grateful for the European governments who provided shelter for them, because now again, it's one of the one of the types of assistance and help and support for Ukraine, because now they can go to Europe effectively without visas, just with passports, and they are given 1 year permit to stay in Europe. So, and I hope that they will be permitted to issue green cards for, you know, to work, etc. So, and we have a lot of, well, at least I know the Polish and Romanian families who gave the shelter to the people. Like I mean, you have a flat when your family lives, and then you accept 2 or 3 more families. So like, so it's very touching, and yes, I'm grateful, and I hope that people, well, everything is over, they will come back soon, like undamaged, in good health and good spirits.
Okay. Some says that President Putin may be not ready to stop this invasion, this war. I mean, do you think that NATO need to confront about this? What I'm afraid of, it will make a bigger war.
Now what happens is the outrageous neo-colonialist war, not against Ukraine, but against the world democracy, in fact. And I don't know what Putin is capable of, what is he thinking, because it's impossible to imagine what can he think after he ordered his soldiers to kill so many people in Ukraine, civilians. So I don't know what he wants, and when he decides to stop, or doesn't he decide to stop, I don't know this. What about NATO? Yes, we, as our president has expressed, we are a bit disappointed with the NATO attitude, because all we actually requested and required and even demanded is to close the sky for Russian bombings. Because now it's like only instrument of Putin's army to really like try to scare Ukraine, try to kill more civilians, is from the skies. It comes from missiles, from bombardments, from the artillery, which is shelling and bombing our cities. So our request was to close the sky over Ukraine, and it's not happening. Well, Ukraine will go on fighting. Ukraine will go on fighting, but yes, we would ask again and again to help us to close the sky. Maybe this is not like directly to send the fighters or something, but we will have the anti-air defense systems. We have the old old Soviet airplanes, fighters like MiG and something, and the Su, now based in some NATO countries, and we want to ask to borrow them for some time, you know, like to defend our skies. So this is what about the NATO, but still we have received a lot of ammunition, a lot of equipment from NATO countries too. So this really like helps us a lot to oppose, to confront the aggressor.
Okay. President Zelensky before said that more than 1,300 Ukrainian troops killed in a war with Russia. So what is the next step of your government to deal with this?
Maybe I mentioned this or maybe not. I think the bad mistake of Putin and the bad mistake of Russia is that they started the war not knowing the spirits of Ukrainians. So they thought it will be the sort of military operation or whatever it is against the scared and badly equipped army, which will surrender, and the people will greet them with bread and flowers. Now what's happened in reality is that army is well equipped and well prepared morally, and people are ready to fight. Even children, even women, even elders, even disabled.
Okay. So what is actually the spirit of Ukrainians?
Because we understand, we call it now the Ukrainian Patriotic War.
Okay.
It's Merdeka atau mati. It's a war for the motherland. It's a war for my land. It's a war for my children. It's a war for my future. It's what every Ukrainian now thinks. And that's why, yes, there were casualties. It's inevitable. It's a war. But the plan of Putin to scare Ukrainian people failed totally, entirely, 100%. So nobody is scared. But on the contrary, everybody is furious. Everybody is angry. And nobody is going to surrender. Few examples, just 2 examples. The city of Kharkiv is situated 38 kilometers from Russian border. 38, yeah?
Okay.
And 1,000 kilometers from the western city of Lviv in Ukrainian territory. Now, the humanitarian corridors proposed by Russia to Russia and then to Lviv, not a single person have chosen the closest 38 kilometers corridor to Russia. Not a single one.
Okay.
They all went to Lviv. However dangerous it is, however unsecure it is. Same story with Mariupol. Mariupol is very close again to Russian border. No one went there. No one.
Okay.
This is the spirit of the people.
I think so. We know that some negotiations have failed before. What do you think the main cause that make these deadlock meetings?
How can you negotiate when at the same time you launch negotiations and at the same time you bomb the cities? It is the negotiations, on my opinion, from Russian side, were not aimed at the peace and stop of this war. The aim of negotiations, true aim of negotiations, to earn some time for Russian troops to regroup and to take a long breath and start again. It's nothing about peaceful negotiations. We are ready to negotiate because our people are dying every day, and we don't want this at all. So, one and only condition of Ukraine for negotiations is stop killing civilians, stop fighting. That's it. Only one. But 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, and then a meeting of ministers of foreign affairs in Turkey confirmed the position of Russian Federation. No negotiations are possible, and they are not ready to negotiate anything. Imagine, it's like 2 days ago, maybe, when the ministers met in Turkey, and first answer of Lavrov is, we are not fighting against Ukraine. We are not bombing Ukrainian cities. We are not killing civilians. It's a military operation only on the east of Ukraine. So this is something everybody must know about Russian lies, about Russian peacekeeping, about Russian negotiation, like willingness to negotiate. What can I say?
Okay. President Zelensky before said that Ukraine is not interested anymore in joining NATO. What do you say?
Oh, he didn't say this. Never. He never said that. Okay. No. I think that's again another piece of Russian propaganda. They're trying to say that, well, Ukraine is accepting our conditions. Ukraine is not going. No, it doesn't happen like this. We are a democratic country, and the NATO membership is enshrined in our constitution. It's like Indonesian people, Indonesian government respect the constitution. That's how Ukrainians respect our constitution too. So to cancel this, we have to have referendum, we have to have the voting in the parliament to, for example, to change this article of the constitution, right? So it doesn't go that easy as whoever might say that, no, we are not going to NATO. No, it doesn't work like this. And he expressed his disappointment, yes, of NATO's silence or whatever it is, not willingness to close the skies. Yes, it was, but anything is negotiable in terms of stopping war. But it's important to understand, whatever happens, whatever NATO or European Union we are going to, whatever happens, we will do everything to stop this war, except the trading by our lands, the trading by our people. This is not going to happen.
So actually, is it true that Ukraine is feel abandoned by NATO, but President Zelensky didn't say that Ukraine is not interested anymore in joining NATO?
Oh, again, I repeat, it's not abandoned by NATO, because I would not say this, because NATO countries understand very clearly, again, what is this war about. Because next victim or next country under attack could be anyone in the Eastern Europe. It could be anyone, any country, and not only in the Eastern Europe, but maybe in the Caucasus, maybe in Central Asia, anyone. So everybody understands this, and it's not like we feel abandoned. We feel like that they are maybe too bureaucratic, maybe like hesitating, I don't know what. But I'm telling again and again, for those who hesitate, for those who like keeping silence, for every country in the world, for those who stay trying to express the silence, keep the silence, I would repeat, remember the history. Second World War started exactly like this, and it started exactly because some countries were like hesitating and thinking that maybe this is a local conflict, maybe it's not our business to interfere, to prevent, right? But what I really like is that we must understand that everybody's paying the price. Ukraine is paying huge price of blood and lives of my citizens, of economy, of everything. But the people who impose sanctions on NATO, on Russia, etc., they also pay price. They're losing money, they're losing business, something. But the price, in case of the Third World War, would be much, much higher. So we pay this small price to prevent the bigger price tomorrow. Remember the Second World War.
Because
good lesson.
Countries don't care.
Yeah, just remember the Second World War. It was a good lesson of history for everyone who now hesitates or keeping silent.
Okay. Your Excellency, how do you think about Indonesian government response about this war?
Well, we can look at it from two various points of view. One is Indonesian government has expressed its position in statements, in Twitter, everywhere, and it expressed its position also within the multilateral format, in the UN and in the ASEAN, for example, in G20. It's multilateral format. But what really didn't happen is that I didn't see any strong words, any strong position on condemnation of the aggressor. Because now it's not a secret that this neo-colonialist war against Ukraine is a war. It's not like conflict or crisis or question, as some countries put it. It's a war. It's full-scale, aggressive, and merciless and cruel war. So what I really expect is that Indonesian government would condemn the aggressor and name the aggressor, name it. And of course, I do expect any sort of support from Indonesian government, any support. I mean, I repeat again, it could be humanitarian aid, it could be a boycott of Russian goods, it could be closing the Pelabuhan ports and airports, airspace for Russian ship and aircrafts, anything what can be done. And we do expect that Indonesia has a glorious history of fighting colonialism. Indonesia has a glorious history of fighting for independence and freedom of your people. And I hope still a lot of people remember this and understand this. And this is obvious what we do now. Okay. So in this, it doesn't need to be explained more, because you just remember what happens in 1945-49 in Indonesia, and you will understand what we are experiencing now.
Yep.
Any help is valuable.
Okay. What is interesting, Your Excellency, I know that you wrote a letter before, open letter actually, to our President Joko Widodo, but some politicians think that it's quite pushing or provocative. What do you think?
It was not a letter to the President, it was a letter to the government.
Okay.
So I didn't name anyone in this, it was named, before this I wrote the open letter to the Indonesian people. Before this I wrote an open letter to Indonesian Muslim people. I would address again and again to the people of Indonesia, to Parliament of Indonesia, to media people of Indonesia, to government of Indonesia, to do something. It's, I mean, if anybody is still hesitating, I'm repeating, my country is in blood, is bleeding and is burning, physically, bleeding and burning. And now it's no time to be silent. We are talking about the world global security, and everything that happens in Ukraine now will influence the world economy, the world security tomorrow. So it's no time to be silent. And if you read this letter, can you tell me what is provocative about it? I repeat again and again, I treat this country, Nusantara, with great and deep respect for what you did for your independence. If someone doesn't understand this, I am admirer of your president, because I read this and that, and I don't understand it in depth, but I understand the idea of Satrio Piningit, of these prophecies, and I respect him so highly, and for what he does for his people, for what he does within G20 for global stability, for global development. So how could anyone think that it was like a disrespect or provocation?
Politicians.
I don't. Well, politicians, they have their own right. We live in a democratic country, so anyone can say anything he wants. But if I made someone unhappy or like misunderstood, I'm explaining it now. So really, yeah, I never said this before, but I am admirer of President Jokowi, and I have always been. It's true. And now, because of his politics, and because, of course, this politics developed by the government and by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, we see the Indonesia is turning into global power, effectively. It's not just a regional leader, like everybody was thinking, like treating it. No, it's now turning into global power. Look at what you do in G20. It's amazing. It's very clear goals and very clear programs how to achieve the goals, and these are global goals. It's not just like for a region or for something temporary. It's great respect, and again I repeat, for those who didn't read or thought something, it's not true. It's not true.
Okay, Your Excellency, we know war today is not just about artillery, but it's like a proxy war that internet and social media is very important. Gaining support is significant. What do you think about it?
I think that it's important for everyone to understand two things. One thing is Russian propaganda has been was established, the system, right, more than 100 years ago in the former Soviet Union by the communist ideology and by the communist colonial ideology, and it has been developing through 100 years, more than 100 years, and it didn't stop when the Soviet Union collapsed, unlike Ukraine, right? So this is important to understand. All the narrative they create based on lies, and you can just double check it. Anything they say. I mean, what the ambassador of Russia says in her interviews is not less crime that what Russian army commits in Ukraine, because they are telling that nothing happens, nobody is killed, but this is lies. What is important to understand. By the way, Nazi Germany in 30s and 40s used the Soviet system of propaganda to lie to the world what happens with Germany and to lie to Germans. So the Russian propaganda is like a exemplary of how to make people believe in something which doesn't exist, and on the contrary, right? Second, which is important to understand, please, every user of TikTok, Instagram, I don't know, Twitter or something else, try to think maybe one step more than you do now. If you move just one step forward, you will understand this is lies. If you don't move, just believe, then you are the victim of provocation and lies again. I compare it to the Danau lake, deep with the clean water, potable. You can drink it, you can swim in it, you can use it, right? And then the propaganda, what they do? They spill the few drops of minyak tanah, of oil, on the surface. So now the water is covered with brownish, blackish film, very thin. But if you look from outside, from somewhere, you will see the black water or maybe brown water, dirty and everything. This is lies. So to discover the truth, just blow onto the surface, or just use it with your hand. Break this film. You will understand how clean and nice and fresh the truth is. Please do not believe just anything. Try to move for one step forward.
Okay. But actually what good news, I think there is enough strong internet connections in Ukraine, right?
Internet
connection in Ukraine still works.
Oh yes.
So you can deny it, all the hoaxes and false information, you can deny it.
You know what, in Ukraine we don't need anything to be denied. In Ukraine we need only one thing: to share with everyone the films, the videos, the photos of what is happening. It will include also the atrocities and crimes against humanity committed by Russian army. It also includes how brave and in high spirits our defenders are. It will also include the videos and photos of how brave and in high spirit Ukrainian Muslims are, because they are praying every day, and we'll see they're fighting with us, with all of us together. So it's important for people to see in Ukraine. But as media people, you must understand this. I'm really, really happy and really grateful to the media people in Indonesia, really, because you are the free people of free country. You're free media of democratic Indonesia. You know what happens in Russia now? YouTube banned, TikTok banned, Instagram banned, Facebook, Twitter closed. Everything is closed. So now they are turning, in terms of media, they are turning into North Korea when they just have 1 or 2 or 3 state channels when you can deliver anything you want. Right? So that's what happened in Russia. I mean, you go to the square anywhere, any city of the Russia, and write on the piece of paper, no war or stop war, you'll become criminal. You'll be arrested immediately. Even if you write literally 2 words, arrested. If you just put a stars instead of letters, star, bindang, bindang, arrested. You know what happens? So, it's amazing. It's a disaster for Russia now, informational disaster and a spiritual disaster, because the people start to understand where do they live still, in what country they live.
Okay, I heard you before stated about Ukrainian Muslim.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the role of Muslim Ukrainian in fighting Russia?
Well, I not only know the Ukrainian Muslims, many of them. My good friends include the Mufti of Crimea, Mufti of Ukraine, 2 Mufti who are like spiritual leaders for my Muslim community. It's not big. It's like 2 million people, maybe less, because as you know, the events in 2014, the beginning of Russian invasion actually, after the occupation of Crimea, which has been the home for majority of Ukrainian Muslims for centuries, with a lot of masjid and madrasa and the like the cemeteries of Muslim people, etc. They fled to Ukraine because they ran away from this regime, which actually even banned the Majlis of Crimean Tatars from existence, like a terrorist organizations, whatever it is. And now the Muslim people in Crimea are persecuted, arrested, and it's something absolutely terrible is happening. Now, what happens now is I watched and still watch the addresses of muftis to Muslim people of Ukraine, to Muslim people of Russia, to Muslim people worldwide. Now the main message is, first, we pray. We want the world to pray with us. We want the Muslim brothers and sisters to pray with us every day. Pray for our peace, pray for our independence. But if we are given no choice, we'll fight, we'll resist the occupant. And the address to the Russians was also very clear. After what Russian regime did to Muslim people in Chechnya, after the huge casualties of Chechen Muslim people during the Chechen war, after what they trying to do now, and literally they employed the Muslim people and sent them to Ukraine to fight against the Muslim people of Ukraine and against the civilians. It's outrageous, I think. So the address of muftis to Russian Muslim people said, brothers and sisters, think about it. What might happen? You come to my land and try to kill me. If I die, I become shahid. If you die, whom would you become? This is a warning to Russian regime. This is the message, clear message to Muslims worldwide. And what Russians going to do? They also trying to deploy the mercenaries from Syria also, and send them to Ukraine to fight. For what? So Muslim people, Muslim brothers and sisters, they are fighting, they are praying every day, and we could see the messages from them, from the battalions, from the troops, how they pray, how they defend their land, my land, our land.
Okay.
Brave people.
Brave people. Your Excellency, last but not least, what message do you need to tell to us, especially the message for Ukrainian people who is suffering now because of war?
Maybe two messages, I would say. People of Ukraine, we will win. And all we know is how we greet each other every day. Merdeka atau mati. What we feel now is what is very clearly reflected in Surabaya's speech of Bung Tomo. That's how we feel. That's how our nation feels. We will defeat the enemy. We will win. We will rebuild our country. Now, my message is, please stay alive. And the message to every other nation in the world, please understand what is going on in Ukraine. It's a war against humanity, against democracy, against global peace and security. Please do anything possible to stop this war. This is for the greater good. This is for our future, for every country in the world, for every child, for every mother, for every citizen of every country worldwide. We should do everything possible to stop the war.
Okay. Thank you, Your Excellency. I am grateful for interviewing with you today. We hope that this war is going to end soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.